say I have a grim sense of humor.
I think, yeah, in terms of playing, not like in the early game, playing around mid, because I think Fnatic also does that really well, but EU really likes to split push and play like 1-3-1, which is kind of a way where you just slowly starve out the opponent, you get more farm in every lane, and you look for a lot of flanking team fights, whereas NA plays more centered around grouping and vision and looking for team fights that way. So I can definitely see those styles clashing, and I gotta say, we're not as good at playing 1-3-1 as some of these teams, but I think there are certain comps that we can execute a lot better than European teams.
And welcome back to Berlin, Germany, where Rift Rivals is about to continue the last game of the day here on day 2. And I'm joined by Dylan Falco, coach of Fnatic. Just before we talk about TSM taking on UOL, dude, how the hell did you win that last game?
That was an interesting game of League of Legends, I would say. I think given the situation of that game, it was definitely really hard for us to win when we came back and we aced them and we finished the game. But I guess...
Well, look, if we learned one thing, Syndra greater than Anivia, right? That's got to be fair.
Possibly.
Okay, possibly. Let's turn our attention to TSM versus UOL. It's the last game of the day. If UOL win, they tie your record, 2 wins and 2 losses, and we don't know who's going to represent EU. What is the key to victory here from either team's perspective?
I think like for UOL, TSM has been, and actually the North American teams in general, have been very good at playing around the mid lane. They use support rooms really well. They use their jungle mid 2v2 really well. Like TSM's really, even in NA, they're really good at duo roaming top, duo roaming bot. So yeah, I guess Team SoloMid, it's always been about the mid lane, and I don't expect it to be about anything different here.
If you were to be on heads talking to UOL, what sort of advice would you be giving the players going into this game?
Well, just from a strategy perspective, I think the NA top laners haven't been playing as well this tournament. So I guess, and I know Vizzy's a really good player, so I think a lot of UOL's win condition is probably through top.
All right, let's see whether or not they can do that. Let's turn our attention to TSM a little bit. As a former North American coach, now kind of an inside man here on EU soil, what's your opinion on how TSM have been playing based on your experience playing against them in NA and now actually playing against them in EU?
I expected TSM and us actually to be the best performing teams. I think we've underperformed a little bit, but I expected TSM to come to this tournament pretty strong. We scrimmed them a little bit, and I think they're a good team. So I'm not surprised actually that they've won so many games.
All right, I just have 2 more questions for you. Which 2 teams will do battle in the final between North America and Europe as the first one?
Oh, that's easy. Us and TSM.
All right, Fnatic and TSM. And who then, obviously, is going to win this game and why?
I actually think TSM is going to win this game.
All right, give me a why.
I think they look more coordinated as a team in general, and I think just Bjerg's been playing really well.
Well, let's find out if they can keep playing around that mid lane. Thank you very much for the interview, Dylan Falco. We're going to head over to the casters to take us into the last game of the day.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. We are all ready to go. Unicorns of Love and TSM are ready to hit the Rift here in our final clash of the day. We've had some seriously explosive action, but TSM, they are looking pretty solid, and Unicorns are going to have to step it up if they want to take them out.
Yeah, TSM, they're a pretty good team. Got to give it to them. I feel like that. I've had a lot of discussions with like the NA casters, and it's been like, I've really struggled to give them like an identity, and I think that's just because they are a jack of all trades, right? They're kind of good at everything. Like they can play split push, they can play team fight, they have good early game, like they have good mid game, and I feel like this tournament they've demonstrated that like they have like a huge number of styles that they have available to them in their arsenal.
And I think that's kind of always been the TSM goal, right? Like is to be able to get to this level where you have players who can carry from every lane, who can function well as a unit, who can play all the styles, right? And it's something that they had struggled with, I think, in the earlier stages of this split, and it honestly feels to me like they're peaking right for this tournament because I think that these are the best games that they have shown throughout the summer split.
We'll see if they can continue that performance as we get loaded into picks and bans. Shen is off the table. It's not just a Fnatic ban, obviously been a staple to take away from the Unicorns of Love and Chachi in particular. Followed up by the Elise and the LeBlanc.
Now I find it fascinating that Mr. Falco earlier said that maybe they should look to try and tunnel their focus onto the top lane, because last time Chachi and Hansa met, it was Aurelia into Gnar, and Chachi got 2 solo kills down onto Hansa. He really did make a number on him, and even though Hansa, his KDA was not the best, his team was still able to come out on top, and the value that he brought to his team was greater, and Chachi couldn't really bring that to the rest of his team.
And I mean, that's one of the problems when you have someone who is, almost only a split pusher. Yes, Aurelia can team fight, but she wants to succeed in that 1v1 against Gnar when she got ahead, but the rest of the map won for TSM, and Hansa was able to be extremely effective when grouping, pretty standard bans coming through, though. Looks like, yeah, so first pick Gragas. We know this can be a flex. It can go either top or jungle, so going to be a pretty strong pick early on for TSM.
Valuable choice for TSM for sure. And over on the Unicorn side, you can see there were some bans targeted at Chachi. Are they going to keep that going? Because he is the man who can be the X factor for the Unicorns of Love. However, the timer ticking down, they get themselves a chance to lock in the Xayah. Will they pair it with the Rakan?
They did last time. I mean, they did go for the Xayah Rakan last time against TSM, and TSM had the answer of the Lucian Braum. Double Lift and Biofrost played that lane incredibly well, absorbing and avoiding almost every initiation that did come out of the Rakan, and they're going right back to it. So Unicorns of Love has the confidence that they can play this 2v2 better. We'll see, though. I mean, it definitely did not go well for them last time against Double Lift and Biofrost.
Clearly, the Unicorns don't believe that was the problem. We'll see if the duo lane does not get picked up on this rotation, if Unicorns decide to throw a couple more bans down that way.
The fascinating thing is, the last time TSM played UOL, they banned away Shen, LeBlanc, Galio, and they picked Gragas, Braum, and Syndra. And right now, they're looking to do exactly the same thing. And it's a matter of, will history repeat itself? Because the draft is identical to what we saw yesterday.
And I mean, the thing is, Bjergsen is so strong on Syndra. Like, he almost always will succeed on this champion. You have to really put him behind in laning phase to be able to shut him down. And this is a bit of an adaptation. Not the Braum, it is the Tahm Kench who can shut down the Rakan engages very, very well. If you hit the Grand Entrance onto your AD carry, you simply eat them out. So this allows Double Lift some flexibility. He doesn't necessarily have to play someone as mobile as Lucian.
And it's something that we were talking about earlier on in the day, which is very much that the Tahm Kench just shuts down Rakan's ability to lane. And when you look at Rakan as a champion, like, the only way you can win lane is if you're all in and you're being really aggressive. And Tahm Kench is just such a great top and denies that completely. So you've already guaranteed a winning bottom lane in favor of TSM. And Exile, he's said to the world, I'm just going to go for a comfort pick. Now, in the past, back when Vlad was a little stronger, he was used as a very common answer to the Syndra, and it is a comfort pick for Exile. But a few weeks ago against Febiven, he died in a 1v1 at level 4 to a Syndra, and I feel like his overconfidence, I want to see him not overcome him today.
And the thing with the Vladimir is, sometimes people talk about it as a Syndra counter pick. I feel like it's a Syndra answer.
It is an answer.
I don't think that it's something that should smash the Syndra by any means. The Syndra will push you in. The Syndra will bully you in the early game. If you can get ahead, then yeah, sure, you can get tanky enough and you can get to this point where the Syndra can't deal with you. But we talked to Dylan Falco right just moments ago, and he talked about how well the North American teams have been playing around mid lane, using their junglers, using their supports to make these roams. And if Exile falls behind, as he has often been doing throughout this tournament, it's going to be really hard for him to succeed against Bjergsen. He's just going to get zoned out.
Completely agree with you. I think that it will definitely be a rough battle for Exile. And now we see the second half of the bans.
Yep, so the Kennen and the Tristana both removed from Unicorns of Love. We target a little bit on Double Lift there with that Tristana, but the Rumble's taken off for Visit Chachi, so TSM still valuing, trying to deny Chachi, but he picks the Nard this time around and says, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and just do my thing.
But the question is, does Hanser now run it back with the early? That would be really fun. That would show some confidence. I don't think we'll get it.
No.
We may just have this be a Gragas going top, because I think that can work as a pretty good answer.
And I'm thinking that Lee Sin could very well come out for Svenskeren if they choose to put the Gragas top lane, but they're not actually going to, so they're going to use the Kled. I feel like Kled is a fairly safe top lane that we've seen a lot of the North American teams bring out. We did hear it from Jat earlier on the analyst desk, where it just seems to be a thing that's great for not only North American teams, but it's also just a great means of starting fights, and something that works very nicely for TSM when they were just literally running it down mid against the Unicorn.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one of the things, is when you talk about if the focus is going to be on Visit Chachi up in the top lane, try to put Hanser behind. Well, if you're on Kled, you can just kind of absorb that pressure. You fall behind in lane, but then you can utilize your ultimate to go mid lane to be able to get pressure on there.
All right, we got ourselves the Ivern lock-in last for Xerxes, one of the champions he really pioneered in Europe.
And I feel like what we're seeing from Unicorns is comfort. What they did in the past, so long ago at so many IEMs against TSM, was they picked comfort and they picked unique champions that caught TSM by surprise, and just because of how confident they were on their own champions, they were able to come out ahead. And what we're seeing is Nafa Vizichachi, a dude that loves to be lane dominant. Ivern, Xerxes was one of the first individuals to bring out Ivern and have so much success with it. And the Vladimir coming out for Exile. This to me just says Unicorns, they're going comfort and they're looking to fight.
definitely have a lot of comfort. Same style for TSM, though. And the Tahm Kench enabling those less safe AD carries. Ashe was so key for TSM earlier today against Fnatic. Doublelift was hitting arrow after arrow after arrow. Really did carry that game, I felt. And now he's going to be able to be given that chance again.
Yeah. Unicorns are definitely going to need all the comfort they can get because there's a lot of potential to get knocked right off their seat as the coaches shake hands to walk off the stage. Unicorns of Love looking to knock TSM down a peg, but TSM, so far, so good. Perfect record on the board, and they have a lot of strengths for themselves. Will the Unicorns be able to overcome? It is going to be a real difficult test, but as you said, Betty, they do like to fight, and they are damn good at it.
Well, the early laning phase will be rough in the middle lane for Exile. It's going to be rough down in the bottom lane for Samix and Hylissang. And while Chachi should have the advantage up in top, playing the Ivern, you're not going to have the same kind of early pressure that you would have typically from things like the Lee Sin or the Elise. So I'm looking forward to seeing how well Unicorns can handle the pressure from TSM in the early game.
One thing I will say, too, the fact that this is actually a red side Ivern is very big. For top laners, it means that when you're playing a ranged top laner, you get donated the red buffs. This is going to be a Gnar who gets to pick up the second red buff, and it's already so frustrating to play against that Gnar, and when you're given that extra advantage, it's so hard to deal with. So I like that pick on that side.
And the blue buff Vladimir. So going to be so lovely for him. He doesn't have mana, getting some mana regeneration.
CDR, pretty
something
high.
that he's always wanted.
Yeah, it's definitely something that the Unicorns know how to play around, and they are taking 5 members into this brush here, hoping that TSM tries for a ward face check. Looks like nothing doing so far, though, and they are pinging question marks right on top of them. Quiet start, Svenskeren testing the waters a little bit.
Yeah, he wants to get a ward over by the Raptors, but he's a little bit scared that they could even be stacked in the brush by the red buff. And
Yep.
Not going to be willing to do that until they can get some eyes on some of these players.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit more about this bot lane matchup because here in Europe, Rakan has been actually a fairly popular pick, but looking at some of the numbers, like over in North America, Rakan was never really that popular. He wasn't really picked up by a number of teams. And so to give some reasons as to why this bottom lane matchup is going to really suck, every time Rakan jumps in with the W, if he hits Tahm Kench, the Ashe is going to ignore the Rakan, and he's going to go hit the enemy AD carry, right? And Ashe, with the focus stacks and with the ability with the W, you actually get a lot of favorable trades early on, especially with the slight range advantage that you have over the Xayah as well. And if you tried to go onto the Ashe, then Tahm Kench is literally just going to eat the AD carry, and again, you lose the trade. So the powerful thing about this bottom lane of UOL is it has so much all-in potential that just gets completely mitigated by this single Tahm Kench pick.
They do have an advantage, though, because TSM's bot lane was actually leashing. While they are already hard pushing this lane, they have control of the brush, so they are going to be able to get a little bit of an edge there and maybe try to fight for level 2.
There we go, on to Doublelift. It's level 1. That means the exhaust is going to have to come out, and the Deadly Plumage is doing a lot of damage, but now Biofrost, he can get that stun off, and Samix, though, is able to walk away, but not without taking some serious punishment.
Yeah, level 1 Tahm Kench is very powerful. So despite the fact that they had the push and the Devour wasn't there for Tahm Kench, if he gets 3 stacks on you, you must leave. Yep. You will lose the fight.
They do end up trading Summoner spells, heal for exhaust. So arguably, in terms of an all-in, it's difficult to say actually which way the advantage goes because I think both have a lot of value.
Arguably, nobody knows.
Yeah, but trade of Summoner spells, and the fact that they did try to abuse the fact that there was no consume, definitely smart from the Unicorns of Love, and it will give them push down in the bottom lane. And they know as well that Gragas started bot side, so they can continue to look to try and be as aggressive as they can.
Doublelift shooting at that hawk shot, not going to find anyone actually at all. So.
And that's another big thing about Ashe that I feel a lot of European teams really don't fully recognize in terms of their strength. Like, the vision that thing gives early game is immense because you can literally just throw it into the bottom half of the enemy jungle and be like, is a jungler there? No. What camps has he cleared? These ones, these ones? He must have done this recently, or he did them a while. Like, it gives you a lot of information that players like Doublelift are really good at utilizing.
And I think it's a good point because you don't even have to see the jungler, right?
Yeah.
You just have to see where he is not, and that can tell you where he is.
You need the information, all that you need. Seems to be a theme with European teams not really utilizing that vision as well as the NA counterparts here at Rift Rivals throughout the 2017 season for sure. Now Svenskeren has completed all of his pushes. He's got the
They see him now, but he's going to be here soon. He has flash.
Oh, Samix, he's going to instantly burn that one, and Hylissang's going to get back on forward, but it's followed through, and a double bop now is going to turn into first blood for Doublelift. Can they make it 2? No, Hylissang's walking away.
Really well done there from TSM. They had the play, they had the flashes, full commitment, all 3 flashes blown to ensure that they get those kills.
Really good setup from TSM.
Monster has to be careful.
He's going to be able to get away from that one for the time now. Fan support for the Unicorns still very strong, but early game lead going in the favor of TSM. And the thing to recognize is the fact that the bottom lane of TSM froze the wave to force UOL to constantly be overextended. Remember how that early trade did not go that well for Samox? He gets slowed up by the Ashe, which means that he has to flash away much earlier than he would have liked, making it super easy for Svenskeren to get the body slam and the remaining kill.
Good credit to Sven on the placement of that, though, actually flashing right in between to actually stun both of the members, not getting blocked out by the Rakan, making sure he can connect with Xayah, get that first blood over onto Doublelift.
This is what we talked about. It's going to be rough. 2 lanes for Unicorns of Love. Bottom was one of them. Mid lane early was going to be another, but Exile does have that level advantage. Now it's evened out as Bjergsen gets himself level 5. Up in the top, it's been a little quieter, but not without some damage.
Chachi's in trouble.
Chachi, all of a sudden, taken out by Hanser.
Oh my word, the last time these two met, Chachi got 2 solo kills down onto Hanser, and what should be a great laning phase for the Gnar gets turned around as Hanser solo kills Chachi.
And we'll have to see that one again. If you can actually get pulled out of your jump by Bear Trap on a rope, you can get that kill. And that is one of the interactions that you have to be very careful about, how you use it. So Chachi's going to have to TP back to lane. Hanser can just walk back if he wants, and TSM are just off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, 5 minutes in, they got themselves 2 kills, a gold advantage, starting to roll forward, and here is that play again. Chachi not respecting the damage that Hanser was going to bring.
We'll have to see what happens to his jump, because I did not see that. Does he get pulled out of it? I guess just no, he just never actually used it. I don't know if it was on cooldown from earlier.
It could very well have been on cooldown, but still props to Hanser being able to get that kill as Hylissang looks for roam mid.
Yeah, that's something you have to utilize very well. Anytime you're playing like Gnar, when you're in mini Gnar, you're very vulnerable, and you have to rely on your jump to actually outplay any engage, outplay that. But Chachi, unable to do so, may have just had that on cooldown from an earlier trade.
And one of the things we were talking about earlier on was that, like, in terms of early action, we weren't really expecting a huge amount of involvement from the laners, from the junglers. We were actually expecting like a lot of advantages to be gained just during the laning phase. We talked about how the bottom lane for TSM in their favor, mid lane should early game go in favor of Bjergsen, but Exile's actually been playing this matchup very well, applying a lot of pressure onto Bjergsen, and then all of a sudden Hanser gets that solo kill up top. So these solo laners, or the laners right now for TSM, building these early advantages, which in the past, they've done a great job of transitioning then into a successful mid game.
Interesting little mind game going on there in mid lane. Bjergsen backs off, so Exile tries to freeze the wave, and then Bjergsen had actually not completed his base, so he's going to be able to shove that in, and he actually ends up getting the advantage there, because if you go for a freeze and it gets pushed fully in, you're going to lose more.
A lot of trading still going up in the top side, and just haven't seen the junglers get as involved. Svenskeren here on the bottom looking to steal away this blue buff. Hylissang is going to spot them out, but be careful. Gets coming down. Oh, gets the knock up. Here we go, and it's going to get taken away. Biofrost licked it.
Successful steal there from Biofrost. TSM utilizing the pressure advantage they do have in the bottom lane, denying that blue buff from Ivan and the Vladimir.
And they're actually holding the wave, so we'll push against them. Doublelift will be 6 relatively soon, and that will put UOL in an extremely vulnerable spot. So the wave management has been pretty big across the board.
Question marks starting to stack up here. Now Hanser at half his health is going to get Skarl back, goes up for a joust onto Chachi, hop skips and jumps away. Level 7 on level 7, but really Unicorns, they're just going to fall further and further behind unless they get a few solo kills of their own, or maybe Duo as they look for Doublelift, but Biofrost bringing up the front now. Able to push them back, has his gray health on. At the end of that as Exile finds himself between a mid laner and a jungler. Can he get the kill? Stops the unleashed power.
Doublelift 6.
Oh no, the arrow lands on. Doublelift looking for more, but Hylissang is out of there.
That was close. Biofrost might have been able to flash kill, but with the heal up from Samox, you gotta respect that. Either way, TSM bot lane doing very, very well for themselves here. And Xerxes looking to wrap around. They may try to dive Bjergsen if he hits a cocoon.
But Bjergsen, he's going to get stopped here. Xerxes going in, and that forces the flash out, but he doesn't get it. Auto attack will.
Solo kill onto Bjergsen.
Not too hasty, but Xerxes does it.
And he gets the summoners. He gets the summoners out of there from Bjergsen too. Very well played there from Xerxes. They needed to get something back, and now they get pushed in that mid lane.
And what we wanted to see at the start of the day for Unicorns of Love was just a little bit more assistance towards Exile. He is an individual that likes to be in your face. He wants to try and trade aggressively. And recently, Xerxes has been spending more of his time in the top side of the map. He's been trying to help everyone else rather than Exile. But this game, he's investing more wards around the river. He sees that Bjergsen gets very low, bursts through the barrier. We don't have time because an action
behind Chachi.
Who interrupted right now. Chachi's all by his lonesome. Knows it's not even worth burning that flash, and Hanser takes him down. 2 kills now. The feisty Yordle.
Yeah, I mean, Sven didn't have his ultimate, but Chachi doesn't know that. So if you flash and the ultimate is still there, he'll just get knocked right back in. Did not think he could get away, so well-executed play there on the top side. And if you fall too far behind Kled, it gets very problematic.
Yes.
This champion can all-in you so easily, has so many tools to engage.
Yeah, and it's already looking like the opposite of what we saw the last time these guys met. Now, admittedly, Chachi had the solo a couple of times, but Hanser, even with a little bit of assist, still finding himself 2 kills up this game.
And one thing that is a bit different as well here is that the fact that if Chachi has to group, he can be very effective on the Gnar, grouped up. Yes, you don't want to fall too far behind, but it's a bit of a different story than when he was on the Aurelia, who wants more kind of to be in that 1v1 with Gnar.
I think it's also important to bear in mind that should Chachi go for the Black Cleaver into Frozen Mallet route, he still has the ability to kite very effectively later into the game because your Boomerang effectively has no cooldown once it's at max ranks and you've gotten all that cooldown reduction from the Black Cleaver. And that can be a great tool at just keeping the Kled at arm's length later on into the game. But until that point, we're going to see more action.
Exile getting aggressive here.
Oh, Svenskeren is able to hit him 1 pixel away. He's got flash.
They're trying to wait out the pool.
Have to use it. Hemoplague's on. There he's going to last second on the pool.
Really good patience there from Exile, but he gets stunned.
Oh, he goes right back in. This time, he's barreled away and doesn't take any damage off the back. Xerxes was there, but...
Spoke too soon.
Hey, he almost gave his life on that one, but all of a sudden, Unicorns have decided they want to go up topside, and with 3 members here with the delayed swap, they should be able to do it, but Hanser goes to charging. No. Try and cut them off. He's going the wrong direction. Turns back in, tower goes down, and Hanser's chunked right into the wall, into the mouth of Biofrost, but he might just eat it himself, and Hanser is trying to run it out here, but it looks like this is going the way of the Unicorns. 1 tower, 2 kills.
And while all this was going on, Bjergsen kills Exile in the middle lane.
Of course he does.
Trades going all across the board. TSM still with the kill lead, but the action's not done yet.
They found Svenskeren. All of a sudden, the game's gotten a little chaotic, and Unicorns right at home in that kind of environment. Hylissang flashing forward. One more auto looking for Svenskeren, and it's Samix who's able to find it, pulling back the feathers.
Unicorns is getting so much done there on the top side. The bungled engage from Hanser allows them to get multiple kills. The first turret as well, but Double is picking up that solo gold on the turret on the bot side. He's starting up the dragon, so TSM trying to answer back on the other side of the map.
But this is a classic Unicorns of Love play where they move from the bottom lane to the top to try and stop that losing lane from happening. But TSM, they just failed the engage. Hanser, he doesn't get onto the members that he wants. That means Biofrost can't join in, but now Chachi's gonna die.
All right, well, Hanser's gonna get a little bit of quick revenge at the very least. A couple of jousts through and through.
Unicorns, what is going on? Like, giving away all these random kills all across the map when getting such a big advantage in the first tower blood along with all those extra kills.
It feels like they're just going a bit too far, right? You know, you make a good play, and then you try to get even more out of it. And to me, that speaks of a lack of confidence. When you make a good play and you feel like, hey, it's not enough. I need more. I need to get something else or I'm going to lose. And that's kind of what it looks like in some of these plays. I mean, Exile, you know, gets away, then he's like, oh, I can go back in. I can maybe kill him. I can get something else. And
nothing doing. Yeah. Although they did stick around to finish that tower off. If they had retreated, that would have been where the Kled would have gotten on him. So at the very least, they called the bluff, and now Exile leading a wave of minions down to the bottom. But Bjerg and Biofrost are here, and he realized he might be a little outnumbered, dodges away from the balls. Keep those wards cleared. Unicorns, they are hunting for the mid lane for the time being. But I mean, like, calm it down for just a second, because at least the Unicorns have been able to keep it really close on this game, and picking up that tower certainly helps.
Well, yeah, they're playing well.
Yeah, this was a move that we saw them make earlier on in the day, where they realized that the bottom lane was not going well for them, so they just transitioned to the top side. They try and rush that early tower, and then normally in Europe, teams will just trade. They accept the fact that the map is going to be a little bit open, and they just try and get the 2 vs 2 once again, as we see a 1v1 in the bottom lane.
Alrighty, it looks like Exile getting pushed back by Bjergsen, but he's hoping he can go in one more time, but all of a sudden, everybody's there, and Exile taken out by Bjergsen.
Stop it, Exile! Just stop trying to kill Bjergsen, because you're going to lose again, as Doublelift is now in trouble.
Yeah, uses his heal, he's got no flash. Chachi knows he can chase him down, and he hops right over, but all of a sudden, Hylissang's caught between 4. This game just keeps getting weirder and weirder, but he's able to go out.
The fights everywhere across the map. Chachi able to run down Double if they get a kill there, but Exile going down. Hylissang has to blow his ultimate in retreat. So TSM is going to have map pressure now. They're looking to try to shove up and see what they can get done. And this is a fight that Bjergsen is willing to take, A, because he knows the help is coming, and B, because he still has his barrier available. So Exile getting baited a little bit into this, you know, thinking that he can take down Bjergsen, but there's the barrier.
There's just no need, right? Because if you're Vladimir, you can so easily just clear the wave and leave. And all you have to do is pressure. You don't have to kill Bjergsen. If you get a favorable trade, like get some harass down onto him, you have a lot of lifesteal available and you can get out. But instead he just commits so hard and he just gives away a free kill over to TSM. And like, it's just something that we talked about in Jam, is like just overconfidence on comfort champions. He thinks he can go for these plays. But as we saw a few weeks ago in the European LCS, he just dies against Syndra's and he just doesn't respect the damage output.
Yeah. It's been the calling card, really, for Exile this entire split, and Unicorns have still been able to find a lot of wins despite it. And even earlier in the day, you look at what they did against Cloud9, I mean, it all turned on one massive Baron, but at least they're still able to pull that trigger.
And that 1v1 between the Vladimir and the Syndra is so important because it's about damage thresholds. If the Syndra gets to a certain point, you can zero out this Vladimir. And if the Vladimir gets enough ahead, you become too tanky for the Syndra to actually burst down. So every kill that you give over essentially pushes the needle a little bit more in your opponent's direction. It allows Bjergsen to have that advantage. And giving Bjergsen an advantage on Syndra is pretty much the last thing you ever want to do, because this guy will take over a game. He will make it so Samix is so hard pressed to ever enter a fight.
But it also, it's big in the sense that it's gonna, as you already said, help them reach those item spikes sooner. And because UOL are a team that love to make things happen or about the 20 to 25 minute mark, that means that they're gonna try and fight when TSM are already reached those power spikes. The fact that Morello's already done, as we see another exchange in the top lane.
There.
Yeah, he dodges out the slam from Chachi, but Xerxes coming to the rescue, and so is Biofrost and Double Lift. They bring more friends to this party, so they're up on the top, and the Rift Herald is out of its pit.
They're just going to transition this into a turret push. So nice rotation up there from TSM. Really good utilization of that Tahm Kench ultimate. Biofrost bringing Double Lift up to the top side, and they can just knock down the turret while Bjergsen is covering here on the top side.
How about they going to look for him right now, see if they can take him down. He's rooted and stopped up. Featherstorm, he pushes him back. An auto attack was all they needed, but Bjergsen turns it around.
What a god!
How about that?
What an outplay there from Bjergsen, barely surviving, and now Samix gets tagged by the arrow. In comes Hunter.
Charge is on, and they're just bursting them all down. TSM hit the ghost switch, and it's a doozy, but Double Lift is going to fall to Chachi on the back half of that fight. Still Biofrost and Svenskeren were looking to tangle, and Hanser and Xerxes there, but Daisy's making it a 2v1.
Oh my god, Bjergsen, this man.
What a god, man.
Such a great play, turning a 2v1 around, getting away with his life, and getting a kill onto Hylissang, to then follow up with the rest of TSM, killing the AD carry too. Yes, Unicorns of Love, they're able to find a return kill, but TSM, they seem to just have an answer for everything that UOL tried to make happen.
Yeah, Bjergsen is getting a lot of early CDR built up, so he's going to be having this ultimate up so frequently. Exile's going to have to be very cognizant of that.
Oh. Let's see this one more time with Samix looking for the setup onto Bjergsen. It was looking like lights out.
So the thing is, against a Rakan, it's super difficult to predict this kind of an engage. But look how patient Bjergsen is with his flash. He still has it up. He waits.
And that happens.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Ah!
I mean, Bjergsen extremely patient with the flash. A little bit lucky to not go down, and now he's styling on him, 4-1.
Yeah.
He's feeling good, and all of TSM is looking very strong. And now they're pushing up mid lane. No mid laner up, and Ash Arrow is back. The Bjergsen ultimate was not even used.
Unleash the power. Oh, and he's going to be able to delete Hylissang for another one. Svenskeren coming in here. And
Ash
this is
Arrow
looking
follow.
desperate for Unicorns. A double kill for Bjergsen. And they are snowballing this game right now. Down falls the tower. Chachi slowed up. Is it going to be yet another Bjerg with those cooldowns? Nearly going to make it happen.
I mean, you give this guy an inch, he'll take a mile, and Bjergsen is off to the races now. Kills Exile without even expending his ultimate. Zeroes out Hylissang. They knock down a turret. They're taking the objectives. They have full control across the map.
And the big thing for me about this game is the fact that this is the second time now where I feel that TSM are just outclassing their opponents. Yes, the first time they met, TSM, Haunter died in the 1v1, but this time round, Haunter gets himself a solo kill onto Chachi. Bjergsen is solo killing Exile. Double Lift and Biofrost are dismantling Samix and Hylissang in 2v2. Across the board, TSM individually are just performing better than that of the Unicorns of Love, and they're never getting a proper opportunity to take advantage of their composition.
And stepping forward there, Bjergsen zeroes out Hylissang. Pretty much 100 is zeroed with that combo.
Yep.
No real chance for him to get out. And that's what happens when the Syndra gets to that certain point, when you get enough gold on this character that you can one-combo someone. It becomes so incredibly difficult to ever really fight back.
I mean, he was doing that on 1.5 item, and now he's got so much more gold in his pocket. Full stacks on the Darksteel.
Hylissang
looking. That Medjai's as they're looking for more here. Featherstorm flies out for Svenskar, and teleport coming in. Hanser, though, is going to be able to push the rest of Unicorns back, and maybe they can get this tower, but there will be some retaliation. And no, they don't even finish the job on it.
Exile
finally turning around. Exile looking to make the hero play as Hanser wants to go with charging, but in comes Bjergsen, unleashes the power right into the wall. He gets knocked by Visit Chachi, but swallowed whole by Biofrost. And in the meantime, Hanser gets shut down. The Unicorns still have some left in the tank.
The reality is, though, that the Unicorns, no matter how far behind they fall, they will still fight as they go in again.
One more time, it's Hylissang, and he's even able to get out, but not before Doublelift fires
again.
one more shot into the back of him. Still tenaciously fighting. These Unicorns will not go down.
Oh, Biofrost saving so many people in that team fight, but UOL forcing heavily. Exile, did he go too far?
Oh, that is a clutch pool as he is able to just cheat death one more time, but it's a 1-for-1 on the back of it.
It was a good play from UOL, though, because Bjergsen was not there at the start of the fight, so they can force this play. Bjergsen shows bot. They know that Kled is not immediately with the team, at least, so they force the play. But look at the easy denial of the Rakan ultimate. They go in for the engage. TP coming in from Chachi. It's a 5v4. Exile and Chachi able to get so much work done before Bjergsen really even gets here.
And just keep your eyes on Biofrost, right? Because the number of people that he eats to keep them alive, just make sure that TSM do not lose too much in this fight. Here, Bjergsen, he should have lost his life. He gets away once again. Sure, you lose your Kled, you lose your front line, but you're going to see time and time again, Biofrost, he's about to save Bjergsen one more time. As a great engage comes out from the side of the Unicorns, but there it is, the gobble up from Biofrost. They get the return kill as well, and it actually ends up, and I believe, an equal kill trade in favor of both teams.
Yeah, UOL, that trade, though, from behind plus taking the turret,
of course,
is something very positive for their team. They need to be able to take fights like this, and we've seen how effective it can be. If you can have the advantages, but Hanser in here on Chachi.
Oh no, it's the 1v2. He's hopping, but just into the brush.
He's gonna go Mega, though.
He does get Mega, and the rest of the team is about to arrive. Svenskar is going to avoid the knockup of the Rakan, and the barrel comes out to push him back. It ends up being nobody going down here, but the Rift Herald is summoned, and TSM is looking to finish off this inner tower.
Yeah, I think they're gonna get it. Exile zoned out. Bjergsen lying in wait here if anyone wanted to take a short route over. They're gonna continue to push. They saw that Samix was mid lane.
Oh no, Samix not even anywhere near the team here. As Hanser looking to push on forward. In goes the Rift Herald, charging in. 2-for-1 on tower so far. Daisy's taken out of the pocket of Xerxes, but just tossed right back towards
looking for the engage on the side.
Can he get it? He's stopped it by Svenskar now, but in goes Hilly all the same. Chachi looking for another one. Featherstorm on, and Samix is going to be able to find some damage. Take down Doublelift. Can they take down Biofrost? That could have been a hell of a lot worse for TSM, but 2 kills for the Unicorn.
Massive team fight once again for the Unicorns of Love. They don't care about the Rift Herald going into their base. All they say is, let's get a fight, let's get some kills, and let's go for the Baron.
Yeah, they're going straight over to the Baron, but there is some time for TSM to react. Hanser was actually pushing. He has his TP available. Bjergsen's going to run up there. They have a ward I think he can TP into right there, but we'll see when they make the call to join.
And they see that one right now, but they've started off on this Baron. The Kled is backing away. Hanser has his TP up and available. Svenskar is going to look to try to pull the steal, but the teleport's coming in. The TSM trap is starting to snapshot. Hanser's come in, and they've bought enough time to peel him off the Baron, but Bjergsen is isolated, and if they can take him down, the Unicorns of Love just might be able to do it.
But they do push him back off the Baron. The bot lane is up for TSM. Still a good series of play that's there for UOL. Bjergsen was a split second away from having his ultimate. He would have been able to get at least 1 kill in trade. Woo. But UOL focus him down, and they'll take it.
All right, Chachi's going to knock.
Chachi could be in trouble. Hanser has ult. Chachi's going to go down.
Oh, charge, here it goes. And all of a sudden, 3 members on top of him make that 4 double lift around the side. TSM gonna be able to pick up one more.
And TSM could actually look to threaten the Baron now themselves if they want to go for that. We'll see if they're gonna try.
Yeah, the thing they have to be careful of is Bjergsen 5 seconds left on his death timer, and Chachi has teleport. So by the time he gets there, Chachi will be in a position to try and come in for the TP, and by then his ulti would likely still be down, but it's still something you want to be mindful of. So like, so much action has happened in like the last 5 minutes of the game, and like the thing we have to emphasize is like, this is so classic of the Unicorns of Love, where the moment they get an item spike or two, they're just so poised and ready to fight. And the great thing about this game is the fact that TSM are just so willing to match them. Their team fighting is so fantastic to watch, and I feel like that every time Unicorns of Love come out and say, let's go, let's rumble, let's battle, TSM are like, all right, we're ready, and they're matching them pace for pace.
Oh, it's such a nice turnaround from the earlier bout that we saw these two face, because Unicorns versus TSM, it's just a matchup that you never really forget for several reasons. Usually oddball champion picks in the Unicorns' favor, but right now, with TSM looking so strong at Rift Rivals, the fact that Unicorns have even been able to match them, and TSM are happy to play their game, is just fantastic.
I'm just so excited that I even broke my favorite pen, which I'm a little sad about, but
it's worth it for this game.
It was worth it for this game. It's TSM. They make the way, and they're going to pick up that third Drake of the game.
All
This
right.
has been pretty typical for a lot of these NA versus EU games. Is the NA teams actually prioritizing the Dragons, having control over that area? There has been a severe lack of objective control from the Europeans in general, not just UOL. And that is something that has really been one of the ways that the North American teams have been able to turn the tides in these games.
Yeah, they've put a lot of investment into getting those small values. Sven goes for a flank.
Oh, he's
have
right now. All of a sudden, he's just going to be able to pop and barrel them all as Biofrost gets the kill onto Xerxes. Unicorns were not prepared for that one.
I mean, both these teams have such explosive engage. If you ever see one member not with the team, you can go for the fight right away. You have the Gragas body slam flash. The Ashe ultimate comes in. They are right on the Baron as Xerxes is down. TSM likely will have to turn and fight, though.
This is a 2 Mountain Drake TSM right now, but can Unicorns peel them off of it? Hanser distracting, and the Baron still being aggroed here, getting lower and lower as it goes. Chachi has got Mega. They're going to try to turn it. Oh, the big Hemo Plague is on. Now they're charging forward on the Proto. Oh my God! Chachi gets a massive knock, and they're able to clean house. 3 kills. Biofrost remaining. Hanser fired down. Is this the Unicorn ace? Hanser is trying to deny, but he's surrounded by Unicorns.
Exile, I'm sorry for everything that I said, because that play was beautiful. The follow-up from Chachi, the all-in into the wall, the utter destruction of the 2 carries to TSM. UOL in the fight, and they're looking for the Baron.
Yeah, they're going to get it. There's no way TSM can do anything about it. The solo laners from UOL playing that fight incredibly well.
Last couple games have certainly been heart attacks, but the Unicorns, this was their last win condition earlier today up against Cloud9, and it was a hard-earned Baron, but they will pick it up at 26 minutes.
Just keep your eyes on Exile on this fight, because his eyes are on double left right here. He knows that he has flash. He's already popped the ghost. He drops everything onto him, and that damage alone should be enough to get the kill. But then the follow-up from Chachi TSM, they're too focused on Exile to even recognize that there is a giant Gnar ready to knock you into the wall.
And they got very split up. I mean, Hanser was hoping, I think, to set up the flank and to ult in from behind as the team engaged, but UOL preempted that. Exile and Visitachi jumping forward before he could really have a chance to join in, and it ended up being a very split up fight.
Absolutely massive, and now Unicorns have evened that gold out. They've got the Baron buff on, and let's just see how far they can go.
But let's not forget TSM. They're still a team that has demonstrated time and time again that they know what to do with the game when it's even, right? Like, all this gold has done is, sure, like, they now have to play on the back foot, because the Unicorns of Love, they have the Baron buff, but they still have a lot of vision in their favor, and with Sven sitting on the flank, they could be looking for another engage.
Seen this one before.
They are looking, but Nara down bot side. They're going to have to answer that, so.
Here comes Hanser. Charges in, he finds Exile right now, but he is by himself, and there's a teleport coming in for Chachi. They might want to turn this one, but that teleport needs to be canceled.
Yeah, Mega was expiring. He had to actually cancel that off, so still, good job by UOL. The 4-man squad disengages. They kill a turret bot lane. They did get a TP out of Visitachi, so TSM could look for the re-engage, knowing he can't join. The UOL 4-man squad has to play very carefully. Look at Doublelift lying in wait, looking for an angle on the Ashe arrow.
Oh, dropping so many Dark Spheres here. Could easily delete someone. The rest of the TSM squad hanging around. Unicorns not poking too deep into enemy territory. Instead, they're more interested in this bottom tier too.
They're just going to focus on getting the towers right now as Exile gets stunned up.
Oh, there we go. Looking for more, and in comes Biofrost, swallowing up Svenskeren whole, trying to keep him alive as Chachi is looking to stack that Meganar Hanser all by his own to defend the turret, but the friends are coming. Down to half health it goes, but the Unicorns are keen to fight this one out. Meganar half down right now, and it looks like the Unicorns have enough power left in the tank to muscle their way through and take it down.
Yeah, really well done there by UOL. Not falling trap to TSM looking for that pick. They're playing very well around Vizichachi in the bot lane, split pushing in there. Now they can return to mid, try to push this up, look for even more if they want, but already a pretty successful Baron play. Get a couple turrets, they get the initial gold, and they've done very well for themselves.
Yes, UOL, they're doing a great job for the time being, but I want to see better vision investment from them. Samux, he's earned the title of shield bearer because 29 minutes into the game, he still has his Doran's shield on rather than a control, but he has the space as Hillisang. Needs to be very careful right now.
He's dodging out, but unfortunately Exile can't dodge on the arrow. Can he get bursted down? Exhaust is on, into the pool he goes, and now the Unicorns realize they can turn the fight. And they're going to be able to do even more. Big knock coming up, but he gets swallowed before he can make a damn thing happen. Bjergsen isolated, taken out by Samix, and the Unicorns find it again.
Oh, the Unicorns come up big again, and they're looking for more.
Okay, stunned up, or rooted onto Hanser. Can they finish him off, though? He's popped off a Scarl. And the Unicorns are popping off themselves. Here comes Exile, trying to finish the job. Biofrost swallows up double lift, but he goes down all the same, and it's another Unicorn ace.
A clean ace for the Unicorns of Love. 5 members for 0. They even have Daisy with the Baron buff just about to run out. I wonder if they have enough time to end the game. No, I think they're just going for the inhib.
5 seconds left on Svenskeren, but clearly Unicorns can get a prize here.
I think they could maybe do it. I mean, double lift is still down for 20 seconds. Hanser down for 20. They should at least go for a Nexus turret here. We'll see if they go for the play.
They do, but they turn on to Svenskeren, who has to instantly flash and dash away as they take down one Nexus turret, looking to fire down a second, but in comes Bergen. That's a lot of low health numbers. Oh man, this is going to be a photo finish as Chachi gets a 2-man. Nara to the wall.
That's it.
They do it. Taking out TSM. Unicorns of Love. Who else to hand them their first loss of Rift Rivals?
What a game from Unicorns of Love. They were so far behind in the early game, they completely turned it on its head with excellent team fighting. Exile falls way behind in the early game, but he came up so big for the team around Baron. Him and Vizichachi, incredible team fighting combo.
It's all about that battering ram, man. It doesn't matter how broken it is, they still run it down mid and they'll still find the fight. They went for comfort picks. They went for a style that has given them so much success during spring and during the early season of summer, and they made it work beautifully. Getting those mid-game fights, finding ways to turn things in their favor. And while TSM, they fought brilliantly, at the very end of the day, it just came down to finding the right fights for the Unicorns of Love, getting the Baron, and then snowballing from there.
And after day one, disappointing performance from the Unicorns. They come to turn it around, take 2 games in spectacular fashion, taking risks and making huge plays in team fights. This is exactly what makes this team so damn lovable.
And I mean, putting themselves to 2-2, they could still be the team that represents Europe, that represents Europe in the finals on Saturday. TSM still doing very well overall, 3-1, but they do fall, and there's some of the other North American teams have picked up some wins. We don't yet know really who's going to be the clear favorites to go to Saturday.
And that mid lane matchup, early on was definitely heavily in favor of Bjergsen. He really did school Exile, but Exile made up for it in those later game team fights. His positioning, his impact, he really didn't know what to do with that Vladimir.
But let's give some serious props to Chachi, because without the massive Nara into the walls, every single fight, none of that would have been possible.
Yeah, for sure. Like this man, always there to follow up from Exile, always getting onto as many primary targets as he could. Like he was a big part, even though he fell behind earlier. Very similar to how Hanser in their previous matchup found value with the Gnar. Chachi does the same thing here.
And I mean, we're seeing how powerful this pick is. Like Gnar on 7-13 has one of the better laning phases in top lane. You can bully out a lot of picks, but even if you fall behind, you can still find effectiveness. I mean, the added range on his jump in Meganar makes it easier for him to find those follow-ups, find the CC combos and stuff, and it's like, even from behind, you see how powerful the AoE is from Gnar, plus Vladimir, the damage jam coming in with the ult. It's so much.
And it seems to be a comfort pick for Chachi as well. Like, he did struggle early on, but he did make it work later on. And, I mean, let's give praise. I mean, we've been praising the whole Unicorns of Love team, but like Samix, bit of the unsung hero. 9, 2, and 6. He was getting double kills. He was getting a lot of kills.
Like isolating Bjergsen at the end of all those fights.
Like his value in those late game team fights was absolutely monstrous, and like he is always that unsung AD carry hero. But I did feel like he's had a great day overall.
Absolutely. Now Unicorns of Love got a strong win, running it down mid against TSM. For more on that game, Quickshot is with their coach.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm joined here by Sheepy. Sheepy, I'd like to know, do you think this game was great?
Yes, that was a great game.
Thank you very much. All fair, Sheepy was trolling me saying he's only going to give me one-word answers, but you're not that kind of guy, are you, Sheepy?
No.
What kind of answers did you give your team after they lost 2 games yesterday heavily, but bounced back and win 2 games today?
I think yesterday we were kind of caught off guard. This was not our usual performance. I think we had all the tools, but we really didn't capitalize on that. And we went like 0-16 mid lane, and like everything just kind of fell apart. We didn't know how to assert pressure on the map. And we talked about it. And in the end, you know, this was, I think, what kept us going. And I think Exile's performance like made up for yesterday as well.
Well, I voted for him for player of the game in this particular game, that late game Vladimir. Great. This felt like a Unicorns of Love day.
Yeah.
Some messy early game, some strong mid game, and somehow you find these magic team fights. The Casterdex calls it the battering ram down mid lane.
Kind of like this.
Is this a strategy that you employ or just something your team's very good at?
I call the team fight the movie. It's basically, we have Vladimir, and he needs to go on those carries. And if he manages to do it, you just see Vladimir run all the way down. And yeah, in the end, if he survives at the end of the run and killed the carries, then you won. And in this case, I think TSM didn't know how to counter it. And yeah, you just saw how we just destroyed their backline, basically.
Sheepy, normally you're a fairly stoic, you know, serious man.
Yes.
Coming off this victory, coming off a 2-0 day where you play the first game, the last game, you're buzzing with energy. Do you think this Unicorns is going to make finals?
Maybe. I think so. I think we can do it, definitely. And
you've got the support of the Love Hurts crew, right?
So that's a clear yes there. And I think also that our curve is just way better. Yesterday I wouldn't have given this answer, but I think seeing today, like, we definitely have it what it takes.
Okay, you've given Team SoloMid their first loss of the tournament.
Again. Again.
All-time record, I believe, stands at 5-2 now. UOL versus TSM. How is it that you can always just take down this squad?
I don't know. I have TSM in memory as more of a scrappy team. And, well, they called us the same.
Yes.
But somehow they called that about us, which I think is not fair for this season particularly. I think we have been improving a lot. And I think we could show it today as well and execute exactly the team comp we wanted to do. I mean, in the early game, we still had like death here and there. But yeah, I think against TSM for us, it just feels a little bit comfortable now because we're focusing more on ourselves. The name itself like doesn't matter to us anymore. So now it's just about the game, and that's exactly what we love.
Just a few more questions before I let you go and celebrate with the team, Sheepy. European wins today, Fnatic and UOL. Kind of magic, kind of in the end. European teams as a whole, very slow to start, very messy. Why as a region are we underperforming here?
I would love to have an answer to that. I'm really not sure. I think that, I don't know, maybe NA is just playing extremely meta and very static. And I think against teams like Fnatic and G2, that works out really well. I think G2 right now is not performing so well. So if there's like a wall, I think it's very hard for them to overcome right now. And I think for Fnatic, they had like the style. And maybe we didn't find answers here in Europe, but it's like a very particular style. So I think NA teams might have an easier time with it. And yeah, but I think with the kind of magic that Fnatic did with like Corki towards bot side and something, they still managed to surprise and outscare.
It was the Syndra. Syndra's the OP one that we think. One last question. You've talked a little bit about the North American team, Sheepy. TSM obviously lost. Phoenix One definitely showing up and proving some doubters wrong. Which of the 3 North American teams are you most afraid of?
I would have said TSM, but now that we played against TSM, I'm not like that afraid anymore. I think that C9 and P1 are. I'm not sure. I didn't feel so strong when against C9. Didn't feel so strong when we played against them. We lost against P1, so I would really love to have a rematch against P1. That is definitely going to come.
That is how the format works.
I'm really looking forward to the rematch against them, and also playing against Rio again. I think Rio was a good mid laner back then, and he seems to be still a good mid laner now. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Well, definitely some chance here for Rio in the audience. Best of luck tomorrow against Phoenix One. Congratulations on the 2-0 day, Sheepy.
Thank you.
All right, going to head over to the analyst desk to wrap up day 2 of Rift Rivals.
GG, dude. Thank you so much, Quickshot and Sheepy. And the crowd is stuck around and is yelling all those encouraging words during the intro, like it's nice flavor. Woo, indeed.
Scrappy.
Yes. Scrappy. Not a
Woo,
negative word.
indeed, for the Unicorns of Love. In the end, they do it through their immaculate team fights and mid lane control, Trashy.
I mean, if any game is a UOL game, this one was a clear example. We had the classic Exile dying once or twice in lane. And then we had the classic UOL running it down mid as 5.
Chachi carrying really hard on Gnar,
and then
is what
somehow
I heard here.
they managed to win a team fight. They get Baron.
But they weren't winning for most of the game, though. And I do want to take a look at some replays first off. Probably earlier you were talking about the kind of interesting use of Kled ultimates by Zig earlier, and how you position yourself behind the enemy to get a better angle. So I think this is an example.
This is a good example of what I'm not talking about. I think this is a pure miss of a Kled ulti, and I don't think I can swing it like in my head where I could see it being good. So
we call it a zoning Kled ulti.
Yeah,
They're going to retreat, but they do not.
It's like a gigantic Anivia wall. They have to go to the left.
Well, this was a little bit of a joke on my part, even though the Unicorns of Love get a couple of kills, because for most part of this game, TSM was very much in the lead and was doing very well, and of course, as always, a lot is to credit to Bjergsen, who is holding mid lane fantastically well. And after this, we're also going to take a look at some replays from his Syndra play, because I didn't think it was going to swing back in the Unicorns of Love's favor, but Jat actually called it very early on when you saw the Ivern.
Yeah, so Bjergsen went to 6-1, which is huge. He made a bunch of really crazy plays like this. But after a certain point, he lost his one-shot potential. So with the new Ivern changes and Athene's giving you AP based on the mana regen you build, when Ivern hits Athene's Unholy Grail, Ardent Censer, and Redemption, his shields are 500-ish with sometimes a 200 or 300 point shield. So he was just kind of pressing that on people that Bjergsen was trying to kill. On top of that, Vlad and Gnar are both building MR, and they have huge kill pressure on Bjergsen. So compositionally, it is really hard for the Syndra to succeed unless he snowballs super hard. But even when Bjergsen was getting kills, Chachi was getting him back, and Doublelift was never able to get to Infinity Edge, so they didn't have the damage to shred through the two front lines.
Yeah, this replay was actually kind of the last huzzah of the Syndra still being able to kill people that easily, because the next replay we're going to see that whenever it came to fights when Ivern had those 3 items completed, it was very, very hard for TSM to kill just about anybody, and we're going to take a look at that in just a second, I think. Seconds are long today.
Yes.
But,
They're EU seconds.
What does that even mean? All right, here we go. This is the first one of 2 that I wanted to take a look at, because this is where the remontage
This is just super typical UOL. Enemy team is trying to seize their base, and the way of getting out of that is fighting through their team, and we just see some of the power of the picks UOL has, like the Vladimir and the Gnar that can just run in, and Ivern is kind of supporting these champions to go even deeper in the fights and getting to the carries, and it's kind of hard for a guy like Bjergsen when he's super fed to have a lot of impact in the game when both Exile and Visace are just flashing on top of him and killing him.
Exactly, and this is also a little bit of TSM actually not being used to the way UOL plays. Like how much UOL dove past the flank that Hanser was trying to do in that play is a little bit comical watching it back. Everyone on TSM is dying as Hanser is engaging on the back line, and it really is all for naught.
Yeah, it really is, and we're going to take a look at the post-game breakdown as well. It's been a very long day, and in the end, the Unicorns of Love do pick up a 2-0 on the day as well, and both show that they can beat the teams that they previously lost to, like in TSM.
Probably, you voted for Exile for player of the game.
Yeah.
27,000 damage on Gnar. I told you it was hard. How does a Gnar do more damage than a Vladimir?
All right, it's top lane meta. He's just fighting all the time, all right?
I mean, we both know that probably has been undervaluing Gnar for a long time.
Since 2016 Gauntlet.
And apparently
Slice.
Vlad. You know, seeing this, like, you know, start Baron and then Vlad comes in with the magic reduction and then one-shots everyone.
What are you going to do?
I mean, everyone knows what Vladimir does, right? And every time that Exile pulls it out, we're like, oh, it's an Exile pick. But they do win most of those games, so can you really have anything against it?
I mean, I think this is like kind of the, excuse me, the style I expected UOL to play the NA teams with and do well are these like kind of team fights. Because yeah, if like Kled dives you, if you're playing Gnar and Vlad, like you don't care. You're going to go back and dive their backline. Yeah. So I feel like this is kind of the composition that UOL wants to play against NA. And I'm surprised they haven't like gotten to these team fight comps like up until like now and today.
Yeah, that's a great point, and maybe we'll see a shift and the European teams will take a whole different approach to the games. And with only 1 day left of the group phase, let's take a look at how teams have performed so far. Just to say, on the day, it's 3-3. Yesterday, it was 4-2. So tomorrow, it can be only better for EU. We're moving up, Trashy.
I mean,
that's
as
how
much
trends
as
work.
That's how curves also.
as much as we have been disappointed in some of the EU teams, it is still fairly close, and it's kind of hard to draw conclusions from the 2 days because teams are beating each other left and right, and it's a lot on like the individual games and draft dependent in my opinion. So I think overall the NA teams have showed better macro play than EU teams, but we still see some of these crazy games from UOL where they just run over some of the team fights, and where NA is not really prepared properly for that kind of play style.
Well, I love that you brought up the macro game and the objectives, though, because we did take a look at that stats-wise, as we're going to do every day. And we look at the gold difference. Obviously, it's smaller, the advantage as is for NA than it was yesterday, but look at those dragons. Woo.
Yeah, I want to check control wards for tomorrow as well, because I feel like there are way more coming out from the North American LCS. Also, how do you win 3 games when you take 2 Drakes across 6? Yeah. 19-2 on the fight. That's
maybe Drakes are just
overrated.
The Infernal Drakes have gone, and now it's only like mountain and like ocean.
Why would you take a Drake when you can kill someone?
There were so many games today where there were 2 or 3 mountain Drakes on apparently an NA team, because it's impossible for an EU team to have that many with that stat.
Yeah.
And then they just get aced, and the Europe would take Drake anyway. So.
See, it's that is macro game. You give up the Drakes because it takes time and resources, and you just pool all the control ward gold you'd waste, and then you team fight at Baron that one time.
Yeah, I completely agree. You should take those strats.
Oh,
all the way to Worlds.
I already do.
Yeah.
And what we seem to forget is NA versus EU. That's actually, well, it's also for now and also for Saturday, but we got to see who of the NA teams is going to make it to the final, who of the EU teams. So can we speak to that?
Anything can happen.
Okay.
Well, technically, by the standings. And I'm not willing to bet one way or the other. No, I would say just 3-1, I think, does give TSM the upper hand. They've looked generally solid. They've already beaten the 2 teams that they play tomorrow, so I think they're probably going to do it from NA.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, I think
certain.
it's pretty, it'd be weird to bet against them. I think TSM will go for sure.
How cool would it be if Phoenix 1 was in the final?
I mean, yeah, that'd be cool, but hey,
it's
we're talking about probabilities here, and I'm saying TSM's winning this one right
now.
I think the more toss-up one is Europe. It's really like who does well tomorrow kind of thing, because no one's like consistent right now.
No. So, Trashy.
To be honest, I don't really mind. I think both UOL and Fnatic have a chance of doing it. I don't really see G2 advancing at the rate they're playing at. So I think we will look to UOL and Fnatic to pull up something crazy and beat the NA strats.
TSM Fnatic final.
TSM Fnatic final.
Most likely scenario.
As it was
most scripted scenario.
Thought beforehand. So that would, in the end, be kind of what we expected, but we'll see if it happens because we're not there yet, and we have 6 more games to decide who it will be. So maybe we can get a couple of more clues if we look at the game. So G2's playing P1 and TSM, UOL's playing
I think
C9.
we want to look at the Fnatic and TSM series and C9 UOL. I think those are going to be important for who is going to advance from EU at least, if any of the EU teams can get a win there. And then, of course, we have good old G2 TSM. Let's see if G2 can show some better play. I think they've been
that
very
would be showing
disappointing.
progress because that was the very first game of the tournament yesterday where G2 couldn't win over TSM. So hopefully they can show something by the time they get to that matchup. We will see. Anything else to add, gentlemen?
NA is winning, technically.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Although they're also not winning at all because it's still the #1 NA team and EU team in the final. The cool thing is the final day of group stage will actually matter a lot. There's going to be a lot of tension in a lot of the games to see who actually gets to go to the final, which
nice save.
Might not have happened, right? If TSM wins that game, they basically clinch it.
Absolutely.
Because they would have been 2 wins ahead of every other team in NA.
Oh, so thank you, Unicorns, for making that day even more interesting tomorrow for NA. Fantastic. Well, that will do it from us here on day 2. Thank you guys very much for watching. We will be back tomorrow for the final battles of the group phase. Have a great night. I can't speak.
I mean, it just means you have a comp that purely relies on scaling.
It doesn't matter anymore. Riven time.
Smithy goes in for another trade.
Oh, Exile. Nowhere to go, no options left. Just gonna let the Sonic Wave connect. Jensen gets the fight. They just want to keep going, but Unicorns love. They need to back off. No one gonna get hit by that ultimate. They're knocked back into the fight. Xerxes with a clutch cast. It may have been an 0-2 start yesterday, but Unicorns of Love are not going to let it be 0-3. Now Perkz potentially in trouble. Ryu looking for the outplay. Up goes Elise. She has to come down. Kled is on the way. Oh! Now leaping up. Perkz running for his life. Shield. Mike Young with the honor.
Oh, kill this guy. Kill this guy. Oh. Can we kill him? Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, nice, nice. All right, let's go. Hey, let's go, let's go. Let's go. There you go. Oh my God. Good job, guys.
So has no options left to escape, but the cast keep Monster at bay. He is unconcerned. Gonna try to dive the tower. Dismounts. The body slam goes forward. So out. Play. Walk away. That's the outplay. Gonna get interrupted by Frost. Ash on the backside. Bjergsen finally gonna drop a Fnatic. They started this fight on the back foot, and that may just be how it's going to end because they're getting taken down.
Hey, kill him. Actually, yeah, kill him. Pick him, Peter.
Yes!
Yes! Nice.
We did it! Right over to Sneaky, has to pop out. Contracts looking for a deletion around the side. Gets a shutdown onto Perkz. Ray going low. There's going to be another! A double kill onto Sven!
Be careful, Sven is very low.
Teleport. Contracts coming in for the kill.
Kha'Zix no flash.
With only the Nexus left remaining, just hit it, and it's contract kills. Flashing away, but Mike Young and Ryu are hot on his back. Playback by Xpecial, and Ryu gets one. Look for Mike Young as he can't take the Lantern out. No arrows knocked into the team. Broxta taking it all in. Holy moly! Fnatic managed to Shrek through Phoenix 1 against all odds. Fnatic take the victory in the most unlikely fashion.
Well, Bjergsen is covering here on the top side.
How about they gonna look for him right now, see if they can take him down. He's rooted and stopped up. Featherstorm, he pushes him back. An auto attack. Oh! Needed. Unleash the power. Oh, and he's gonna be able to delete Hylissang for another one. Sven coming in here. And that's just desperate for Unicorns. A double kill for Bjergsen. The big Hemo plague is on. Now they're charging forward on the front. Oh my God! Sachi gets a massive knock, and they're able to clean house.
Nice. Good job, guys. Nice.
Unicorns of Love. Who else to hand them their first loss of Rift Rivals?